Alright guys, what's up? So with these Fuji cameras, you can pretty much customize every single button on this camera. So immediately when I got my XT3, I wanted to match it up to my XT2. So I just wanted to share my setup and what works best for me and what keeps me going quick on a photo shoot. The easiest way to get to your custom setup settings, I don't know what it's called, if you just hold down the display back button, it'll take you to it. The first thing is actually turn off the touchscreen gestures. I felt like they're a little too finicky and I didn't want my nose to accidentally swipe features up. They're not the quickest ways to get to things compared to just being able to flip a knob, so I just turned them off. Because I didn't want any settings getting messed up or anything while I'm trying to shoot, especially when I'm on a paid gig. But yeah, so I'll walk you through the physical buttons instead of just the menu. So let's start off with the front button, this guy right there. I have that set to my face and eye detection. To me, it's just like the perfect little spot where I can quickly click it. Because you don't know all the times do you need that on, and sometimes it can mess it up. And then up here, I have my Bluetooth set up. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly this works. Every time I turn it off and on, it doesn't connect instantly, so I need to figure out how to make that work. I'll make a video on that after I figure it out, if I figure it out. The AFL button I changed to my white balance. And usually when I shoot a lot of like desert western type stuff. So I go up to my Kelvin and I push it up almost like all the way. And then I go over into the tint and I push the tint all the way over. I shoot in RAW plus JPEG. So RAW on the card 1. And then on card 2, it's doing small JPEGs. That way I can just send models those JPEGs instead of having to export them on my computer and like have my computer bogged down for an hour. So my next button, the AFL button, the autofocus lock button, I've changed it to taking the exposure and white balance adjustments off the preview mode. So when I'm doing flash photography, sometimes I would like to underexpose the ambient exposure. And so when you do that, you can't see what you're shooting. So you have to turn that off. So I usually use that right there. I don't use flash a whole lot, but when I do, that's a big thing that helps. My quick menu, I never go in the quick menu, honestly. Again, when I'm shooting, it's very limited time. It's always rushed, especially on paid gigs. So I don't have time to go through that quick menu. And then of course, this is your focusing. One thing I like about the XT3 over the XT2 is you don't have to click into this to move this. You can just move it right there. I don't know if that was a setting that you had to change in the XT2, but I know I never had that. And I also have my touchscreen set to area, so where I could just move it around, and I just have it locked on that. I don't ever change that. So moving on to the D-pad, clicking up, I have it onto my autofocus modes. I bounce up between, I used to just stay on single shot mode on my XT2, but the XT3's focusing is like 1,000 times better. And so I usually keep it in zone or wide. It really depends on what the surrounding is. If the surrounding's very busy, I usually keep it on zone. But if it's like kind of a desolate, like I shoot in the desert a lot, so sometimes I just put on wide and the camera usually picks up the model like pretty easily. So on the left end, I have my film simulations. I usually keep it on classic chrome. I don't really change from that. Even when I do video, I usually do an F-log. On the right, I have my flash settings. Again, I use flash a lot. Or I wouldn't say a lot, but here and there. Clicking down, I have my self-timer mode. I had lots of options to change that, but I don't know. First, I don't know. I don't really use the self-timer mode, but every time I have to use it, I hate having to go through the menu just to get to it. And then I actually turned this adjustment off where you could click down this button. I didn't feel like I needed anything there. Maybe as I'm using the camera more, I'll go into it more. For my XT2, I used to have it for my manual focus adjustments, like the modes, because I used to shoot with this Vivitar 135 millimeter 2.8, but I recently got the 55 to 200, so I don't need that anymore. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not much else that I need for how I shoot, really. I think when it comes down to your personal setup, I don't think you need to copy those exact modes. But yeah, guys, that's just my personal setup. If you have any questions or anything, you could just leave a comment down on this video, or you can hit me up on Instagram. DM me on there, whatever works best for you. But yeah, peace.